Let me tell you about the night I made a promise. The night my husband abandoned me for my best friend, laughing about how pathetic I was. I was destroyed, broken on a bathroom floor, but I looked at myself in that mirror and swore I'd make him regret every word. This is the story of how I kept that promise, and how he had to watch another man give me everything he never could. I used to believe in happy endings. At 28, married 5 years to Ricardo, I worked as an administrative assistant making barely above minimum wage. I supported everything while he pursued his dream of becoming an entrepreneur. Big ideas, zero money. I paid every bill, bought every meal, believed in him when no one else did. Beatrice, my best friend since high school, was always around. Lunches, dinners, secrets. I trusted her completely. Until March 15th, when I discovered the truth. I'd saved 3 months for my birthday party in a small venue. 30 people. Simple blue dress from a clearance rack. Ricardo stayed on his phone all night, distant and cold. Said he was handling important business. I tried not to care. That week I'd noticed things. He came home late smelling like expensive perfume, changed his phone password, started going to the gym suddenly, but I pushed it away. Trusted him. We'd been together since college. First love, only love. Beatrice helped plan everything. Decorations, cake, even that blue dress. You need to look stunning, she said. Show Ricardo what he has. I missed the strange edge in her voice. Around 11, I headed to the bathroom. Dark hallway. Quiet. Then I heard laughter. Beatrice's laughter. From the storage room, door cracked open. Heart pounding, I approached. Ricardo and Beatrice were kissing like they'd done it 1,000 times. His hands on her waist, her fingers in his hair. Then Ricardo said something that destroyed me. I can't wait until we stop pretending. She's so naive, she doesn't suspect anything. Beatrice laughed. Poor Maria. She thinks we're planning her surprise gift. If she only knew the surprise is us leaving together. I stood frozen, watching the 2 people I loved most mock me. Then I stumbled to the bathroom and locked the door. I sat on that cold floor and cried silently, hand over my mouth. The party continued outside. People laughing, music playing. My life was ending while everyone celebrated. I looked in the mirror, mascara running, eyes swollen. This was my 29th birthday, the worst night of my existence. 20 minutes later, I fixed my makeup and went back out, smiled, cut the cake while Ricardo's arm wrapped around my waist, the same arm that had been around Beatrice minutes before. Nobody noticed anything. That night in bed, I pretended to sleep. Ricardo didn't shower. He smelled like her vanilla perfume. I stared at the ceiling, wondering how long, how many lies. Next morning, he acted normal. Coffee, forehead kiss. I love you. I watched this stranger wearing my husband's face. The following days I became a detective, waited until he left, checked his computer. He'd been careless, or thought I was too trusting. I found everything. Emails, messages, photos. The affair started 8 months ago at a networking event I'd missed because of overtime. They'd reconnected, and apparently they'd always flirted in college. The messages were explicit, detailed plans for their future together. Beatrice wrote about always loving him, how she'd befriended me just to stay close to him, how she'd waited years for him to realize I wasn't good enough. Ricardo's messages were worse. Called me boring, unattractive, a financial burden. Said he'd only married me thinking I'd help his career, but I'd been useless. Talked about leaving once his business took off. Beatrice encouraged everything. Called me pathetic, a plain little mouse. I read every word. Let the pain wash over me until I felt numb. Then I cleared the history and went to work like nothing happened. At the office, my coworker Sandra noticed. You okay? You look exhausted. I forced a smile, but Sandra knew. At lunch, she pulled me aside. Whatever it is, don't let it break you. You're stronger than you think. Those words stayed with me. That night, I came home to find them on my couch, holding hands. Time to stop hiding, they'd decided. Ricardo cleared his throat. Maria, sit down. We need to talk. I stayed standing, purse on my shoulder. Go ahead. My calmness annoyed him. He'd expected tears. Beatrice and I have fallen in love. We didn't mean for this to happen, but we can't deny our feelings. Beatrice nodded. Maria, You're my best friend. I never wanted to hurt you. But sometimes love happens. I looked at them both. How long? Does it matter? Ricardo said. How long? 8 months, Beatrice whispered. 8 months of lies. 8 months of you laughing at me. 8 months of me working overtime paying our bills while you two planned your future. I turned to Ricardo. You called me a financial burden. Said I was boring and unattractive. His face went pale. You went through my messages? Every single one. I looked at Beatrice. You said I was pathetic. That you only became my friend to stay close to him. Beatrice stood, crying. Maria, save it. I grabbed my already packed suitcase from the bedroom. I'm leaving. You deserve each other. And Ricardo? You said I wasn't good enough, that I'd never amount to anything without you. I stopped at the door. Watch me prove you wrong. Ricardo laughed. Actually laughed. Maria, be realistic. You're a secretary making $30,000 a year. No degree, no prospects, no ambition. Without me, you're nothing. Where are you even going? I looked him dead in the eyes. Anywhere but here. Outside in my old car, I let myself break. Gut-wrenching sobs that shook my whole body. I drove to my sister Clara's apartment. She opened the door, saw my face, and pulled me inside. That night on Clara's couch, I couldn't sleep. Kept replaying every lie. Every moment I'd defended him to my family when they said he was using me. The next days blurred together. Called in sick. Barely ate. Barely moved. I'd built my entire life around Ricardo. Without him, I didn't know who I was. 4th day, Clara had enough. Sat down, looked me in the eyes. I love you, but you need to get up. Shower. Eat. Because drowning in self-pity, that's letting them win. Is that what you want? I said nothing. Ricardo said you're nothing without him. You going to prove him right? Let him and that snake destroy you? She grabbed my hands. Mom didn't raise us to be victims. She raised us fighters. So fight. Something cracked open in my chest. Mom had worked 3 jobs to raise us after Dad left. Never complained, never quit. And here I was, giving up. She'd be disappointed. Next morning, I woke at 5 a.m., showered, clean clothes, looked at myself in the mirror and made a promise. I will become someone they can't ignore. I'll build a life so incredible that when they see it, they'll know exactly what they lost. This isn't the end. This is the beginning. Returned to work Monday. Everyone knew. Small office, word travels. Sandra hugged me. Welcome back, warrior. I'd requested early shift to avoid sympathetic looks. Arrived at 6 a.m. when the office was empty. That's when I really saw the company. The filing system was chaos. Papers everywhere. No organization. Clients complained about lost orders. The owner, Mr. Alberto, spent more time putting out fires than actually running things. I spent that week reorganizing everything. Early arrivals, late nights. Created a digital database. Color-coded files. By Friday, I could find anything in under 30 seconds. Mr. Alberto noticed. Maria, this is incredible. How'd you do this so fast? I paid attention, and I had nothing better to do. Over the next month, I revolutionized the office, identified problems nobody saw. Inventory system costing thousands in overstock. Billing always late. Damaging client relationships. Terrible supplier contracts. I wrote reports, made presentations, offered solutions. Mr. Alberto was confused. Maria, why are you doing all this? This isn't your job. Because I have something to prove. To myself. At Clara's place, I studied every night. Downloaded business courses, marketing, finance, YouTube videos until 2 a.m., library books. My brain absorbed everything like a sponge. Years of Ricardo telling me I wasn't smart enough had starved me for knowledge. Now I devoured it. 3 months after leaving, I ran into Ricardo at the supermarket. Alone, tired looking. Surprise crossed his face when he saw me. Maria, you look different. I did. Lost 15 pounds. Not from heartbreak, from taking care of myself. Working out became therapy. Every drop of sweat was anger leaving my body. Hello, Ricardo. How have you been? Genuinely curious. Maybe concerned. Busy. Focused. Better. I moved to pass him. Wait. He touched my arm. I stared at his hand until he removed it. I know things ended badly, but I never meant to hurt you. I almost laughed. You meant every word in those messages. The difference is now I've read them. I know what you think of me, so thank you. You freed me to become someone better. Maria, is Beatrice making you happy? Just curious. No malice. He hesitated too long. We're good. That's not what I asked. I studied his face. Stress lines. Exhaustion. You thought she was the upgrade. But she's just different needy, isn't she? Doesn't work. Depends on you. And your business is struggling because nobody's carrying you anymore. His jaw tightened. We're fine. Sure. I smiled. Good luck, Ricardo. You'll need it. Walked away, head high, while he stood there with an empty cart, looking lost. That night, I felt something new. Power. I'd looked my ex-husband in the eyes and felt nothing but indifference. His hold on me was broken. Next week, Mr. Alberto called me into his office. Looked serious. Was I getting fired for overstepping? Instead, he smiled. Maria, I'm promoting you to operations manager. 20% raise. You've transformed this company in 3 months. I can't afford to lose you. I accepted immediately. The raise wasn't huge, under $50,000, but it was validation. I was capable, valuable. Ricardo had been wrong about everything. With extra money, I moved into a small studio. Nothing fancy. 600 square feet, old building, needed work. But mine. I painted walls myself on weekends, bought thrift store furniture and fixed it. Every nail I hammered, every wall I painted. I'm building my own life. Nobody can take this from me. Started freelancing. Used my skills helping small companies organize operations. Low rates at first. Building my portfolio. Worked 14-hour days. 8 at my job, 6 freelancing. 4 hours sleep. People said I'd burn out. Didn't care. Sleep was for people not running from their past. 6 months into my transformation, I attended a business networking event. Almost didn't go. Social events reminded me of that party. But Clara convinced me. You can't build an empire from your apartment. At the event, I felt out of place. Everyone seemed successful, confident, connected, about to leave when someone approached. You look like you're about to make a run for it. A man in his mid-30s, well-dressed but approachable, smiled. That obvious? I did the same at my first event. Stood by the exit 20 minutes before my friend dragged me back. He extended his hand. Gustavo Mendez, venture capitalist, recovering introvert. Maria Silva, operations manager, current introvert. We talked for an hour. Gustavo was easy to talk to, thoughtful questions, actually listened. When I mentioned freelancing, he perked up. I have several portfolio companies needing operational expertise. Interested in consulting? I didn't believe in luck anymore. I believed in preparation meeting opportunity. Absolutely. That connection changed everything. Gustavo introduced me to 3 startups needing help. I took them all. 20-hour days sometimes. Clara worried I was destroying myself, but I'd never felt more alive. For the first time, I was building something entirely mine. 8 months after the separation, disaster struck, or seemed to. One of Mr. Alberto's biggest clients threatened to leave. Shipment messed up, 30,000 in products sent to wrong locations. Mr. Alberto panicked, ready to eat the cost. I studied the problem 2 days straight, then called the client directly. Assistants weren't supposed to do that. Mr. Patterson, this is Maria Silva. I've reviewed the shipment issue and have a solution that fixes this problem and improves your future deliveries. I presented a complete logistics overhaul, new tracking, discount structure, but more. I'd researched his company, understood his needs, anticipated his questions. By call's end, he stayed and doubled his contract. Mr. Alberto was speechless. How'd you do that? I listened. I prepared. I offered solutions, not excuses. Pause. Mr. Alberto, your company could be 3 times this size. Good products, decent prices, terrible systems. Let me fix them. That's when he made the offer. Getting old, tired. Kids wanted nothing to do with the business. Maria, I'll make you partner. You bring operational expertise and sweat equity. I maintain capital. 60-40 profit split in my favor for 5 years, then 50-50. You transform this company. Someday it's yours. I wanted to cry, but held it together. I'll have my lawyer review the contract. You have a lawyer? I will by tomorrow. Called Gustavo that night. He recommended an attorney, helped review terms, even offered to invest for better negotiating position. Maria, you're the smartest person I've worked with in years. Don't undervalue yourself. 2 weeks later, contract signed. At 29, I became part owner of a company generating $400,000 annually. Not much in the grand scheme, but mine. I dove in completely. Renegotiated supplier contracts. Saved 30% immediately. Implemented online ordering. Opened new markets. Hired 2 people. Restructured the warehouse. Created customer service protocol that cut complaints 70%. 6 months in, revenue up 45%. Mr. Alberto kept shaking his head. Owned this company 30 years. You transformed it in half a year. My wife says you're a wizard. I smiled. Not a wizard. Someone with something to prove. Around this time, a mutual friend told me something interesting. Ricardo's consulting business had failed. Lost money, clients, reputation. Beatrice left him for someone with actual money. Bitter irony. Ricardo was living with his parents. Broken. I felt nothing. No satisfaction. No pity. He was irrelevant to my story. I'd moved so far past him that looking back felt like looking at a stranger's life. But the universe wasn't done. One Tuesday, checking email, I saw something that made me gasp. Those startup shares I'd bought a year ago with half my savings, $6,000 in a tech company Gustavo recommended, just acquired by Google. My shares were now worth $280,000. I stared at the screen. Refreshed. Number didn't change. Called Gustavo. Is this real? He laughed. Congratulations. That's your reward for taking calculated risks. What'll you do with it? Buy Mr. Alberto out completely. Time to take full control. Negotiation took 3 weeks. Mr. Alberto was ready to retire, spend time with grandkids, travel. We settled on $350,000. My investment money plus a loan from Gustavo would repay with business profits. At 30, I became sole owner of Silva Distribution Company. Legally changed the name from Alberto's. My company now. My risk. My reward. Growth was exponential. My operational skills combined with aggressive marketing and perfect customer service created a juggernaut. Expanded into 3 neighboring states. Hired 20 new employees. Revenue hit $2 million first year under my sole ownership. Moved into a better apartment. Nothing extravagant. Refused to be wasteful. But modern, clean, safe neighborhood. First new car. Retirement account. Invested in other businesses. Built wealth strategically. Carefully. Intelligently. Gustavo had become more than a business advisor. A friend, maybe more. Never pushed. Never rushed. Showed up consistently. Supported my dreams. Celebrated my wins. Bad days, he listened. Good days, he celebrated. One night after a brutal negotiation, Gustavo took me to dinner. Not business, a real date. I almost said no. Wasn't ready. Might never be. Maria, he said gently, I'm not Ricardo. I won't hurt you. Won't use you. I see you. The real you. And I think you're extraordinary. But if you're not ready, I'll wait. Forever, if needed. I studied his face. Saw sincerity. Why me? You could date anyone. Because you're brilliant, driven, compassionate. You built yourself from ashes into a phoenix. When you talk about business, your eyes light up. You tip waiters 30% and remember their names. You're real in a world full of fake. He smiled. Should I keep going? I laughed. Really laughed. First time in forever. One date. Let's see where it goes. It went well. Another date. Another. Gustavo was patient, understanding, knew my history, never pushed boundaries. Let me set the pace. Slowly my walls came down. 3 months into dating, Ricardo found me on LinkedIn. Long message. Said he missed me, made terrible mistakes, wanted to explain, apologize. Maybe try again. Said Beatrice was a mistake, that I was the only woman he'd ever truly loved. I read it 3 times, blocked him without responding, showed Gustavo. Should I have replied? He shook his head. You don't owe him anything, not even closure. That's what I thought. Just wanted a second opinion. Maria, you're so far beyond him now. Running a multi-million-dollar company, building an empire. He's stuck in the past, trying to relive what he destroyed. Keep moving forward. Never look back. I took his advice, deleted the message completely from my mind. 1.5 years after becoming sole owner, I hit 5 million annual revenue, 50 employees, offices in 3 states, featured in a business magazine. 30-year-old CEO transforms dying company into distribution powerhouse. The article told my story. Not personal details, but the business transformation. That article changed everything. Speaking invitations flooded in, consulting requests, interviews. I started accepting, shared my knowledge, mentored young entrepreneurs, women who'd been told they couldn't, weren't good enough, should give up. At one conference, I told my story, about being underestimated, about betrayal becoming fuel, about deciding to prove everyone wrong. Didn't name Ricardo, didn't share explicit details, talked about transformation through adversity. Response was overwhelming. Women lined up afterward, many crying. You gave me hope, one said. I got divorced. He said I was nothing without him. But hearing your story, maybe I can prove him wrong too. I hugged her. You can. You will. Won't be easy. Hardest thing you'll ever do. But on the other side is freedom. That's when I realized my purpose wasn't just building a business. It was showing other women they could rebuild themselves too. I created a foundation, Silva Women's Entrepreneurship Fund, microloans to women starting businesses, free business training, mentorship network. First year, helped 87 women launch companies. If you're going through something similar right now, if someone told you you're not enough, that you'll never succeed without them, I want you to know they're wrong. Stay with me, because what happens next is when everything truly changed. Through it all, Gustavo was there, supporting, encouraging, never overshadowing. Had his own success, didn't need mine. We were partners in the truest sense. 2 years after we started dating, he proposed. Simple, private, perfect. In my apartment, cooking dinner together, he got down on one knee. Maria, you're my best friend, my inspiration, my home. Will you marry me? I said yes, but I had requirements. I want a prenup, ironclad. Your money is yours, mine is mine. Not because I don't trust you, because I never want to depend on anyone again. Done. I respect that completely. We married 6 months later. Small ceremony. 30 people. Real friends, close family. No spectacle. Love, commitment, mutual respect. Wedding day, Clara pulled me aside. You did it, sis. Built an incredible life. We did it. I corrected. You were there when I had nothing. Gave me a place to stay. Pushed me to fight. This success is ours. 3 years after my transformation began, I received an invitation to speak at the National Women's Business Conference. 5,000 attendees. Keynote address. Topic: Rising from the Ashes. How betrayal became my superpower. I prepared for weeks. Decided it was time to tell my full story. Not for revenge, but to help others. Conference day. I was nervous. Backstage, Gustavo squeezed my hand. You're going to change lives today. I walked on stage in a red power suit. Looked out at 5,000 faces. Deep breath. My name is Maria Silva. 3 years ago, I caught my husband cheating with my best friend at my own birthday party. That night, I lost everything. Marriage, best friend, confidence. I was making $30,000 a year as an administrative assistant. My ex-husband told me I was nothing without him, that I'd never amount to anything. And for a few weeks, I believed him. Audience silent, hanging on every word. But then I got angry. Not at him, at myself, for believing him, for making myself small, for thinking I needed someone else to be complete. So I made a decision. I'd become someone he couldn't ignore, someone who proved every single thing he said about me was wrong. I told the whole story. Transformation, business, growth, success. Not to brag, but to inspire. To show rock bottom can be a foundation. Today, my company generates $8 million annually. I employ 130 people. I've helped hundreds of women start businesses. I'm happily married to a man who sees me as an equal. And my ex-husband? He tried reaching out last year. Wanted to apologize, explain, maybe try again. Pause for effect. I didn't respond. Not because I hate him. Because I've moved so far past him that responding would have been a step backward. The best revenge isn't destruction. It's indifference. It's building a life so incredible that the people who hurt you become irrelevant. Audience exploded. Standing ovation lasting 3 minutes. Women crying, cheering, inspired. Afterward, the line to talk to me stretched for hours. Woman after woman sharing stories of betrayal, being told they weren't enough, wanting to give up. I listened to every single one. Offered advice, encouragement, contact information. One woman, probably mid-50s, grabbed my hands. My husband left me for his secretary. 30 years of marriage. I thought my life was over. But hearing you, maybe it's not over. Maybe it's beginning. It is, I promised. Your best chapter hasn't been written yet. That night, exhausted but fulfilled, I collapsed on the hotel bed. Gustavo brought water. You were incredible today. I told them the truth. That's all. You gave them hope. That's everything. Over following months, my story went viral. Articles, interviews, podcasts. I became known as the Betrayal to Billions CEO. Though I hadn't hit billions, probably never would. But the nickname stuck. More importantly, my foundation grew. Silva Fund helped over 500 women second year. Created a network of female entrepreneurs supporting each other. My story became their story. Proof you could rebuild. Ricardo tried one more time. Showed up at my office building. Security called. Ma'am, there's a Ricardo Martinez here to see you. Says it's personal. My heart didn't race. Felt nothing. Tell him I'm unavailable. Add him to the no-access list. Will do, ma'am. But curiosity got me. I looked at security camera feed. Saw Ricardo in the lobby. He looked old, defeated, desperate. Part of me felt pity. Small part. The rest felt free. Called security back. I'll come down. Give me 5 minutes. Took the elevator down. Walked across the marble lobby of my building. My building, that I owned. Ricardo stood by the window. When he saw me, his face crumbled. Maria, thank you for seeing me. You have 5 minutes. You look incredible. This building, your company, everything you've built. I've been following your success. I'm so proud of... Don't. Firm, but not cruel. You don't get to be proud of me. You didn't build this. I did. In spite of you. Not because of you. I know. I messed up. Threw away the best thing in my life. I was an idiot. Beatrice was a mistake. You were always the one. I was too stupid to see it. I studied him. Saw the desperation. The regret. Felt nothing. Ricardo, you called me boring. Unattractive. Said I was a financial burden with no ambition. Remember? He winced. I was angry. Didn't mean... You meant every word. You know what? You were right about one thing. I did lack ambition back then. Because I was pouring all my energy into supporting you. Into believing in your dreams while mine died. Your betrayal was the best thing that happened to me. It freed me to become this. I gestured around. Building myself. Is there any chance we could try again? I've changed. I've grown. I almost laughed. No, Ricardo. I've moved on. I'm married to someone who saw my potential from day one. Who supports my dreams instead of crushing them. Who's my partner, not my burden. I made you successful, though. If I hadn't left, you wouldn't have... If you hadn't left, I'd still be paying your bills and believing I wasn't good enough. So yes, thank you for leaving. Thank you for showing me who you really were. It gave me permission to become who I really am. Started to walk away. Turned back. Ricardo, I hope you find happiness. I genuinely do. But you won't find it with me, and you won't find it living in the past. Let me go. Move forward. Build something for yourself instead of trying to grab onto someone else's success. Maria, please. Goodbye, Ricardo. For the last time. Walked back to the elevator. Didn't look back. When doors closed, I exhaled. That chapter was closed. That night, told Gustavo about the encounter. "How do you feel?" he asked. "Free. Completely free. He's a stranger now. That girl who loved him? She doesn't exist anymore. I'm someone entirely new. You're Maria Silva, CEO, philanthropist. My wife, my hero." I smiled. "Your wife. That part I like best." 5 years after that terrible birthday party, I stood on stage at the same convention center where my party had been. Full circle. Receiving Entrepreneur of the Year award. Crowd was huge. My company now did $15 million in revenue. My foundation had helped over 2,000 women. In the audience, Clara cried happy tears. Gustavo beamed with pride. My employees cheered. This was my tribe now. These were my people. In my acceptance speech, I told the complete story. Named no names, but laid it all out. Betrayal, rebuilding, revenge, that became redemption. "Someone once told me I was nothing without them," I said, and they were wrong. I was everything without them. I needed their absence to discover it. To everyone who's been betrayed, abandoned, told you're not enough, you are. You are everything. Your betrayers didn't see your worth. That's their blindness, not your deficiency. The best revenge is not destruction. It's construction. Build a life so beautiful, so successful, so fulfilling that when your betrayers look back, they see what they lost. And you'll be too busy living your incredible life to care. Applause was deafening. This time I let myself feel it, let myself be proud. Later that night, social media exploded. My speech went viral. Millions of views, thousands of comments from people who'd been betrayed, who saw themselves in my story, who found hope in my transformation. One comment made me cry. I was about to give up after my divorce. But this video saved my life. If she can do it, maybe I can too. That's when I knew. My purpose wasn't business success. It was showing others that rock bottom isn't the end. It's the foundation for something stronger. 6 years after the betrayal, I opened my 10th distribution center. Revenue hit $25 million, 300 employees. My foundation had grown into a national organization helping women entrepreneurs across the country. Gustavo and I were talking about starting a family, maybe adopting, building a future together based on mutual respect and genuine love. One day, cleaning old files, I found a photo from that birthday party. Me in that blue dress, Ricardo's arm around me, Beatrice laughing in the background. I looked at that young woman, so naive, so trusting, so small. I whispered to that younger self, "Thank you for surviving that night, for picking yourself up, for fighting. I wish I could go back and tell you it's going to be okay. Better than okay. It's going to be extraordinary." I tore up the photo, threw it away. That life was gone. This new life was here. And Ricardo? Last I heard, he'd gotten his life together. Married someone new. Had a stable job. Seemed content. Good for him. I hoped he'd learned from his mistakes. I hoped he treated his new wife better. But mostly, I didn't think about him at all. Because that's the real ending to this story. Not revenge. Not destruction. Not even forgiveness. Complete and total indifference. I'd built a life so full of purpose, love, and success that my betrayers had faded into irrelevance. The woman who was despised became the woman who couldn't be denied, and the man who said I was nothing had to watch from the shadows as I became everything. Watch as another man, a better man, gave me the love, respect, and partnership he never could. That's not revenge. That's resurrection. That's redemption. That's a woman who refused to let betrayal define her, and instead let it refine her into someone extraordinary. And on quiet nights, when I look at my life, my business, my husband, my home, my purpose, I smile, because I did it. I proved them all wrong, but more importantly, I proved myself right. I was enough. I always had been. I just needed to lose everything to discover it.